Hi, my name is Stephanie Rosales, and my adaptation research will be focused on the peacock mantis shrimp of the ocean. So the specific species that I'm researching is the peacock mantis shrimp, which by the scientific name is also known as the Odontodactylus ciliaris. The habitat is typically in the tropical waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It remains in coral reefs, sandy burrows, and dens as well. Some interesting features that I found during my research was its size, weight, diet, and predators. For the size, it's 4 to 7 inches. It's pretty big for a crustacean. For the weight, it's around 90 grams. For the diet, it is a carnivore, so it does not eat plants. It mostly includes its diet of other animals, which we will talk about later. And as for predators, it does have to protect itself against octopus, fish, and eels. So the physical appearance of the peacock mantis shrimp is typically found of different colors, which include bright reds, oranges, blues, and greens, as we can see to the picture in the right. Females do tend to have mostly red and some dark spots around their limbs, meaning that the picture here shows a male. We will also be focusing on their powerful limbs, which is the club-like appendages that they have, as well as their complex vision and how they can see different wavelengths that humans are not able to. My adaptation research focused on the dynamic of the punching power of the peacock mantis shrimp. This focused on the club's appendages that they have, which can strike at a velocity of about 50 miles per hour, meaning that this is a very high speed punch. Throughout the readings and the research that I did, it resembled the power of a bullet. The impact that it left on its prey usually produced a shockwave or imploding bubbles, which we will talk about later on, which was enough to stun or kill prey without necessarily having to make contact. The force was also striking with enough force to break glass tanks, as other observers saw. The physiological adaptations include the exoskeleton, the impact bubbles that it produces, as well as experimentation that was done behind its research. As for the exoskeleton, the peacock mantis shrimp does have a strong outer shell, which can help filter out pressure waves, keeping it protected during high-speed attacks. As well as this, they do not molt all at once, which means that it stays protected while healing any injuries that it did take. For impact bubbles, they are also known as imploding bubbles or cavitation bubbles. They basically work together with other forces to exceed 1,000 times its weight. When it strikes, it moves so fast that it creates these bubbles, which pop with a lot of force heat, strong enough to hurt prey even without making direct contact. As for experimentation, scientists and engineers continue to study the internal process of the punching power of the peacock mantis shrimp, trying to replicate the club-like damage that it does, which does continue the research that is being done. The peacock mantis shrimp is a very solitary, territorial, and highly intelligent animal. They are defenders as well as burrow dwellers, which means that they do attack intruders and they do fight against predators to protect their home. However, they do not venture far off their habitat. They will engage with other mantis shrimp over territory. It does show how territorial they are. However, this is not often the case. It does have to have certain conditions of their home or territory being a threat or being threatened. As for their behavior, they are pretty much solitary animals. They do like to be by themselves, which is an individual. They mostly remain around their dens or burrows to hunt or remain hidden. And they are highly intelligent animals. They like to be able to recognize individual shrimp by themselves. During observations made by other scientists, they found that they could recognize other individual shrimp and they are able to adapt to new environments very quickly. You can see that they adapt to their new homes and they can adapt to different situations as well, whether it be while mating, that we will see later on, as well as changing how they react to different environments. There are some environmental adaptations of the peacock mantis shrimp that include where they live and the prey that is found near that area. For example, they do tend to stay around warm, shallow waters, tropical waters in the Indian and Pacific Ocean, which is full of other crustaceans and invertebrates. In the diagram that I drew to the right, we can see that the prey typically does have hard shell covers for protection, which do include snails, crabs, scallops, and clams. These are all animals that do have shells, and this is why the peacock mantis shrimp does have the strength that it does, which is the punching power, in order to be able to break these shells and be able to stun or kill their prey. They are able to ambush their prey and defend their territory in the areas that they stay in, which include the burrows as well as the coral reefs. And this same way, they are also able to fight predators with their adaptation of the club-like appendages and the speed power that it has. So the reproduction of the peacock mantis shrimp does go through the stages of the egg, working its way to a post-larva, a juvenile, then an adult, like in the diagram I made. There is sexual reproduction and fertilization, as well as mating, so a female and a male do come together to mate and they produce the eggs. There is parental care and investment, so the mother and the father will take care of the eggs, meanwhile they grow up until the juvenile to post-larva stage. The development of the eggs to larva is seen in the diagram to the right, and I think this was probably the most interesting part of my research project. Thank you.